It's the Sittin Sportside podcast.
Can't wait.
With Drew's Logar.
You're killing me, Smalls.
And Eric Hanman.
I have dedicated my life to this team, okay?
Exclusively on 1045theteam.com.
And welcome into the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Hanman along with Drew's Logar. And Drew, it's been way too long, my friend.
It has, man. I feel like you were hiding from us down in the nice sun. You were on a nice little vacation. We missed you. The podcast missed you. All the people wanting to hear these podcasts. We all missed this whole thing, and it's good to be back in the booth.
I appreciate that, and I'm gonna also say that I gotta maybe get you guys in here, you and Cody and them, to that was a good month, guys. You didn't even get one up.
Teach a man to fish. He eats for a lifetime, man.
There you go.
So you're always in charge of the ones and twos, but when you go on a nice hiatus for 2 weeks, you leave me and Cody out to dry. That's kind of bunk, man.
But I'm glad we're back now, and,
right.
and Cody will be back momentarily. Who knows?
And
Another week or so.
Frankly, a perfect time to be back. Ton to talk about right in this NBA segment that we're going to be getting to.
I'm upset that I kind of left when I did because of what happened in free agency. We can't really dive in that because that's kind of old news at this point.
NBA free agency not
some of that
important
stuff.
Enough for you, bud? You had to go on vacation?
They didn't give me a pay raise, man. They didn't up that l'argent. Like
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Exactly. But there is something recently that's come out of left field that is perfect time to talk about it because it's breaking news almost.
Yeah, it is.
A day or so now.
Yeah.
And the Cavaliers aren't this happy family. We already knew with this David Griffin thing. That, okay, some of it was up and LeBron was unhappy. That's all we heard. We only heard maybe like LeBron wasn't necessarily happy, but it was apparently, I guess, Robin. And that's the exact reason why Robin wants to leave is because he's being called Robin, right?
Right, yeah. It's it's kind of the Cleveland Cavaliers train is unraveling, going off the tracks kind of quicker and way unexpected that we weren't even really looking at and
it's so
expecting in this off season. So David Griffin leaves. You saw the almost subtweet that LeBron had directly after, almost letting the media know he had no. He wasn't let known. He wasn't really given any word of that move. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows, if you're in tune to the NBA, that David Griffin and LeBron James go way back. They have a great relationship even after this firing of David Griffin. But when that happened, when you got the best player in the world, the most polarizing player in any of the sports, and you don't let him know that you're going to part ways with the general manager,
not very good.
That's definitely questionable. So when we saw that,
especially because everyone's thinking he's the one calling the shots.
Exactly. So it was kind
of ironic.
We scratch our heads when we saw that because we were like, wait, isn't LeBron James like that? The player, coach, general manager, owner, all in one. Right. But he didn't even know that was happening behind the scenes. So, you alluded to it. That was kind of the first key to the train going off the tracks, and now.
Then you kind of had the rumblings, right? So they were getting ready for Jimmy Butler to be. They were trying to go after him.
Paul George, Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward is never really.
You had the rumblings that people were telling Jimmy Butler, right? There was this kind of this small story that came out that players were telling Jimmy Butler, like, you don't want to be part of the situation. It was like very small. It wouldn't get heavily reported, but it was there. And then now this report's coming out too that there was a trade almost like in place to get Paul George, and then the GM of Indiana kind of texted back and said, "Nah, we're good." Almost kind of thing.
It was at the end of the day, they were like, "We kind of don't want to aid you guys who have been kicking our tail the past few seasons." So kind of. Well,
they might be thinking about when they faced LeBron in Miami, because that's when they actually. I mean, they did face them in this past playoffs, but I feel like the big LeBron versus Pacers was when
just
Miami
that LeBron
years.
Entity. They were like, we don't want to fuel that fire anymore.
Exactly.
That type of thing. But it's crazy. So a lot of hit and misses with the big free agents.
That being said, not to go back to that, because like I said, that's some of that's old news. But that being said, if you're the Pacers and the best deals coming from the Cavs, you're not going to compete with when you trade Paul George anyways. Why not get the best? Like, I'm not sure what the difference was, like Oladipo and Sabonis compared to what they would have gotten. But
in short, that I wish we could have talked about it, but I mean the time just came and went from NBA free agency. But I will agree that the Indiana Pacers didn't get the best bang for their buck in that trade
and
with
the Celtics
Thunder.
coming out. I don't know if the Celtics are coming out trying to like rub it in their faces and like make it public, saying that they were giving 3 first-round picks, not including the Nets pick, either one of them, but still like they're coming out and saying they gave a 3 first-round picks. Doesn't look good for the Pacers, but you never know. We'll see. Right.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Sabonis, young player,
but back to the Cavs, right?
And Oladipo has some promise as well, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so back to this Cleveland ordeal. Now we're about 3 weeks ago. Whether it was partially fueled by Big Baller Brand and the Lonzo Ball family, with LeVar coming out saying if LeBron comes to LA, man, they're gonna win this. They're gonna win the championship every year. Blah blah blah. If that was fuel to the fire that got the media really talking about it or not. In the past 3 weeks, is it even a lock that LeBron is going to end his career as the Cav? And now it's to the point that it's definitely not going to be that. It's just a matter of where LeBron goes.
It does feel that way for sure.
And now let's fast forward to present day, and the most alarming of all the storylines, Kyrie Irving wants out, or potentially wants out.
I know. I'm like, I was just like,
you said it before the podcast. You don't even know what to say. It's baffling.
The first thing I saw was like something popped up. I don't know where it was. Maybe in bottom line on ESPN or like a tweet.
Right.
Preferred destinations for Kyrie Irving: Spurs, Timberwolves, Knicks, and Heat. I'm kind of it just went in my head and like, oh, all right. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, those are places I'd want to go to if I were a really good player.
Right.
But then eventually I'm at the gym and I'm looking at it and like I actually kind of like sit down and think about it, and I'm looking at run on the treadmill and actually look at the Sports Center and like, wait, Kyrie's demanding a trade right now, and those 4 teams were teams that he's saying that he wants to go to like right now.
Right.
I was like, what?
Yeah, like, it crept up on everybody, and once it was there, it went full throttle. And now it's like, oh my God, is this going to happen like soon? Like what is going on right now? We in just a short little tidbit here. Now the Cavaliers are in serious trade talks with Derrick Rose. So is that already
that came out before we knew that, and it was like, oh, they're going to play together, him and Kyrie, and a great point, And
now is it
replacement?
They kind of already knew what was happening in Kyrie's mind. So.
An interesting question to use there too is now we bring up possibly Melo, right? Because like Melo's an interesting with the Knicks connection with where Kyrie wants to go.
Right. So Derrick Rose
what do you think about Rose and Melo? Because they played together last year. Do you think that they'd want to play together again?
Yeah, I mean, I think Derrick Rose is in his point of the career. He's gotten enough money, and
wants to win.
He has enough money already still guaranteed on his last deal with the Knicks that he's going to get enough to whatever team he goes.
And the Lakers apparently are offering him the most money, right?
But I think he's at a point with all of his injuries, with his career that he's had, he wants to win. Melo is a different story. He wants to, frankly, I think, go play with his buds at this point.
Right.
I think in a general, not really aggressive term on him, I think it's a fair statement. Carmelo isn't totally bought in on truly wanting to win a championship. And I know that might sound like hate toward him, but with how great he is, and he hasn't been anywhere near it, he's not a championship basketball player. And if he goes to the Cavaliers and they do make the championship, great. But it seems like he's in that banana boat type thing. So we've heard all the ESPN media.
Do you mind if I just like weigh my 2 cents in on Carmelo, kind of like what kind of happened in the past, really year, I guess? Okay, I'm going to go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, so not to once again bring up old news, but there was this kind of sense that this kind of rubs me the wrong way in like that he was being stubborn throughout the entire year, wasn't going to waive his no trade clause, and it almost turns out to me that he wasn't doing that just to be petty with Phil Jackson, because the minute Phil Jackson gets fired and let go, right? Mutually parting ways, they might want to say it, but he's gone. The minute that happens, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Melo's saying there, I would waive my no trade clause to go to Houston or Cleveland,
right?
Like so like it was like, really you're gonna be that petty where you wouldn't have done it if it was Phil, but that's besides the point,
right? So now we're here, I think that
now he's trying to choose where he goes, right?
Right.
And so you have Portland being like, hey, you come here. But I don't think that's where he wants to go.
No, so then this is when...
Because he'd have to be a leader there.
This is when we can bring back Kyrie into the conversation, because this is where we started.
Boom,
and
I like it.
Kyrie is a big part of this potential Melo leaving a New York scenario, because we heard that New York is in the short list of potential teams that Kyrie wants to play for.
Mm-hmm.
And bright lights, big city. And if he went there, him and Kristaps Porzingis would be a nice little combo, but there would be no doubt about it that Kyrie would be the number one option.
Right.
So he likes that.
Which is what he definitely wants.
And that's what the reports are. So let's say what they can get. I don't think that the Knicks have enough to just do a trade for trade with the Cavaliers. So then is when all these 3-team possibility trades have been in the media. And I was telling you before the pod started, the Phoenix Suns look like a legitimate candidate. I know the Blazers are good suitors as well, but like you said, I don't know if Carmelo really wants to deal with another team of young, scrappy, not superstar players, but stars, and definitely not title contending players yet.
Right.
And in Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum.
Though, I feel like Damian Lillard is one of the players that Kyrie's kind of jealous of, ironically.
Why do you say that?
That, he's getting the massive,
and he's the guy in town.
Yeah, the guy.
Right. And yeah, it's true. So, but in terms of the Blazers, with what they have, they could potentially put a guy like CJ McCollum on the trade block. They have a nice Zach Collins piece. They have a couple.
That would be kind of ironic, right? Like CJ McCollum recruiting Melo, and then he gets traded for.
Right, and
very ironic.
And it's funny because McCollum came out in the media a couple days ago and said if we got Melo, we would be a top 3 team in the West. I don't necessarily agree with that, but
no.
I don't think the Blazers have enough to get a guy like Melo
without giving up some of their core.
Exactly. So that's why I don't think the Blazers would end up being the destination that Melo would go to. So in comes the Suns, the meaningless Suns. Personally, they're my team, but to the landscape of the NBA, they're meaningless. But they have nothing to lose and basically all to gain at this point. And the only untouchable on that whole roster is Devin Booker. And the reports are saying that they want to treat Dragan Bender and Marquise Chris as untouchables as well. But if it's to get a guy like...
before Josh Jackson now at this point?
Josh Jackson... So yeah, I guess it's a four-headed monster.
All right.
But they love how Dragan Bender and Chris, frankly, didn't even show you guys in the NBA a lot.
Right.
But they love their potential.
Okay.
And they love how young they are.
They're very young. So
they were saying
untapped, right? It's
right,
untapped.
Exactly. And with the boat not moving fast soon, they're like, why abandon that? You know what I'm saying? So those 4 guys.
Be patient.
But they have so many picks. They have 3 first-rounders in this next draft, 2 in the 2019 draft. Like, they have an ungodly amount of picks. Eric Bledsoe, a very valuable, still in his prime athletic point guard. You have Tyson Chandler, that veteran presence who could also be used as a cap space, I guess, relinquent. So, like, you could get him just to dish him off so you could have that cap space. So, a lot of kind of positives when you look at the Suns, and one of the potential trades was something like Kyrie Irving going to the Knicks with a first-round pick from the Suns. So, it would be a lottery pick, I think 10 to 14.
Okay.
In the lottery from Miami a couple trades ago when they ended up dishing out Goran Dragic, excuse me. And so then
names.
So leaving New York is Ntilikina and Melo. Melo goes to the Cavaliers. Ntilikina comes to the Suns. Leaving the Suns is Eric Bledsoe going to the Cavaliers. We all know Eric Bledsoe and LeBron James are very good friends, and Eric Bledsoe is an athletic, scrappy, defensive-minded point guard.
It seems like a massive shakeup right now for the Cleveland Cavaliers defending Eastern Conference champions.
Right, but it's
the hand that they've been dealt, right?
Right, exactly. And if a guy like Kyrie is,
although there's nothing that
leave,
says they have to trade him.
No, right, and it's and I think on paper, if this massive deal is going to happen,
and I think Love would go to the
Suns.
And
Love would go to the Suns potentially, yes.
Now here's something. We talked about how it's turning into the inevitability of LeBron leaving after this season. So let's say you put Kyrie Irving in the position to where, all right, you're playing 17-18 season, you're playing with us, Cleveland Cavaliers. And then they sit down with LeBron and say, LeBron, you want to go elsewhere, go elsewhere, because we're going to give this team to Kyrie now and we want you to leave. I don't know if the Cavaliers would ever say that, but if that's what kind of going to happen, do you think, so let's say it kind of worked out that way where LeBron opts out next year and he goes, but Kyrie's still on the roster for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you think he would be able to, that was where Kyrie would be like, all right, I'll stay here in Cleveland. This is the place where I'll make my team. So
you're basically saying, would Kyrie want to just ride this out?
So yeah, let's say he doesn't get what he wants now.
Right.
And in a year, LeBron does jet, but Kyrie's still on contract for that one more year. Do you think he would settle in then after that? After LeBron's gone, this is definitely your team, Kyrie.
I don't think so. Only on the point that the other teams that he's looking at, he's saying he can immediately become the guy, and I'm not wasting time. Look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know they just signed...
Would he be the guy in Minnesota?
Not necessarily, but with championship pedigree, with all-star mentality, he would be the guy in the locker room. I know you can argue that Karl Anthony Towns is more valuable potentially.
Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, Wiggins, Towns, and then Jang, I guess?
Yeah, Jang or, take your pick at the big man. It would be scary. It would be scary.
That's pretty ridiculous.
And if you go to the Spurs,
and then
they would
Jamal
likely
Crawford come off the bench there now.
Yeah, right. So and if he goes to the Spurs, we don't even need to describe the Spurs because that's the best organization in basketball.
Right.
If you go to the Knicks, it's a dumpster fire on paper right now, but 1 year with chemistry with KP, it could go a long way. And we haven't even seen
that's the thing, though,
the max potential. So
what do we think about Kyrie Irving? Because the last time we saw him, there was this high expectation Cavs team that they thought might have been able to make the playoffs, albeit Anthony Bennett was kind of part of that conversation, and we already know what kind of NBA player he is.
Let's not think about that. I think we can still argue about Kyrie, but let's not talk about 2013 Kyrie. He's a totally different player. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
That would not be giving him justice because Kyrie Irving has turned into a, without a doubt, top 5 point guard in the game without a doubt. And in 2013, it was argued that he could potentially be more towards 10.
But then you hear some of the statistics from this past season where...
Exactly. So this is when Kyrie Irving, and should he really be a Batman to a team of Robins, or is he kind of just a glorified Robin?
Right. I've always kind of been of the notion of Kyrie Irving and LeBron James are the perfect couple because they both need each other. Like LeBron needs that guy who's kind of like a Dwayne Wade. That's kind of a Kyrie guy who can, get his own buckets. But then I never really looked at Kyrie as like I'm the leader and I'm the alpha. And like actually can win. He could be an alpha, but I'm not sure he could ever win. I think he'd be more
LeBron James and him winning, he's had help.
Right.
And when he won with the Cavaliers, I know Kyrie Irving hit that unbelievable shot. It'll go down with Ray Allen's final shot when in Miami, and a bunch of other unbelievable shots in NBA history. But LeBron did that on his own. I know, not on his own, but he carried him. When the Heat won back-to-back, Dwayne Wade was a huge part. Ray Allen was an enormous part. But what did they do that Kyrie Irving has never put into his game? They defended.
Defense, yeah.
And that's, I think, the biggest glaring hole. Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, is the most rounded, best offensive point guard in the NBA right now. Okay. If we're talking about James Harden now as being called a point guard, then maybe we have a discussion. That's another discussion for another day. In my opinion, Kyrie Irving is the most gifted offensive point guard in our game. But the constant debate on, well, look at his shooting percentages when he doesn't shoot well. Well, does he take more shots? Why should Kyrie Irving ever have more shots than LeBron James in a game? Yada, yada, yada. I think the only reason that is ever a conversation / continues to be a conversation is because he's so one side of the court minded.
Exactly.
And that, in my opinion, translates and moves with him if he goes to another team. So if he goes to the Spurs or if he goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves, he can hide. He can hide that defensive, not liability, but lackluster defense that he brings with his game. Mm-hmm. But if he goes to New York, the biggest media in all of sports, arguably, they're not good. So every move, good or bad, that Kyrie would make is falling on his shoulders. When he has a 40-point game and 10 assists, oh my God, he's the next Isaiah Thomas, and we're gonna go to the championship tomorrow. But then when he does his 9 for 24 and only has 9 for 24 from the field and only drops 6 assists, they're like, wait, we gave up Melo for this? So Kyrie Irving has that.
I'm not sure anyone's going to say that at this point.
You know what I mean, though. Not the oh my God, we gave up Melo, but like.
But yeah, like what?
We brought him in.
What did we get here?
Top dollar, and it's because of his inconsistency on both sides, and I think that is cause for concern.
Definitely, I'm not
in the conversation.
I'm not a big believer
of the Robin.
I'm not a huge believer in him being like the guy and leading a team to past maybe even the first round. Depends what else he has. The Knicks himself, if he gets the Knicks to even a conference semis, I would be impressed with Kyrie Irving, I think. Because like
next year?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If he brought the Knicks to a conference semis, the world would fall apart. Because that would be unbelievable.
Yeah,
that would be
what
unbelievable.
else do they have other than KP? Really nothing.
I mean, to bring in that type of guy on contract, the talks would already be that they would have to get rid of Courtney Lee. So that's your 3-and-D guy on the wing.
Then we play defense.
Exactly. It's tough there. Hey, they just signed Ron Baker to a 2-year deal.
Oh,
no, but so it's really interesting. I think we could have a podcast in a week to kind of like wrap this up and talk more when we have more clarity. But we could go.
This could go on for a little bit.
We could go on and on about the Kyrie Irving and our overall thoughts. But
this might not be something that happens right away either. You know, this could be throughout the entire summer, just hanging over the heads of
another podcast,
the NBA world.
Another podcast relatively soon to talk about this will be warranted because this seems like it's going to be a story that daily new nuggets are going to come out for us.
Yeah,
so
most likely.
Next week, definitely tune into more updated talk on this Kyrie Irving and overall Cavalier hubbub that we're going through because it went from...
There's going to be enough Sittin Sportside podcast to go around coming up.
Right.
You know, so.
We're going to be making up for lost time, and Kyrie Irving is going to be at the forefront of a lot of our NBA talks. So it's I'm really looking forward to it.
Seems to be in the forefront in the NBA in the summer. And the NBA has done a very good job the last couple of years striking a deal with ESPN to have a lot of these games televised. It's the NBA Summer League. It happens in Orlando, Las Vegas.
Right.
And a lot of times you have a lot of good of the rookies playing. Sometimes you don't. I mean, in the past, like this year, Brandon Ingram only played once. He's not a rookie, but he only played one game. And everybody, oohed and ahed. He looks like a savvy veteran at this point. It's his summer league, though. But the big name this year, I mean, how can he not be the big name? Because he's been the big name since LeVar has come out and said, Lonzo Ball.
Finally on the court.
Let's
see if he's kind of put up or shut up.
Right, exactly.
And good for Lonzo
that things happen with his footwear. I don't know. I was in and out of this stuff, being on vacation and whatnot. But I was able to catch some of the games that he played in. He did not play down the stretch because he was nursing a hamstring or something.
More or less, they just didn't want him to
hurt him.
Overstretch
but that
anything.
Lakers team, dare I say, led by Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, I mean he got the MVP.
Right.
It was
the finals
MVP.
I mean Lonzo though got the Did he average a triple-double, or did he get
Close. I think it was about 17, 9.5, and
that's the most
8.
impressive thing to me with Lonzo Ball. And was going into the draft, that was the upside with him was the vision and being able to pass, and he's kind of shown that he could do it, at least in a league where you got a lot of young talent and then people trying to make the
ding,
league.
ding, 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 bingo. Thank you for ending that point with that, because that's what I was going to come back with you with saying. Lonzo Ball shined in Summer League.
Mm-hmm. So did Kyle Anderson a year ago.
Let's reiterate what I said. Lonzo Ball just shined in Summer League. That's where the asterisk lies. Lonzo Ball played very well against dudes that 70% of them won't even make the team come the fall.
Might not ever play in the NBA.
So 17, 9.5, and 8.3. Bully for you. Enjoy that MVP of the Summer League, because good. Yeah. I'm glad that
Hard work pays off.
I'm glad that it wasn't a total dud of a Summer League for him, because that would have been terrible in terms of media every day. I told you so. That would just get annoying. So I'm glad that he has shut up the media
and I think
enough.
He's getting this reputation where he's kind of letting his dad talk for him, but he's actually the one that actually can go out there and actually
and
put
say
that on his
and
back.
walk his walk.
Right, exactly.
And but I do think that it not necessarily cause for concern, but I am not as optimistic. I'm more cautiously optimistic. A lot of people were tentative to jump on the bandwagon, and then as soon as they saw that 38, 11, and 10 game that he had, that first triple-double in Summer League, they were like, oh my God, he's the next second coming of Christ. I'm jumping on board. Now the bandwagon doesn't have enough room.
Right.
And I'm not yet on it because he shot less than 40%.
Yeah, he had some tough times.
He shot less than 25% from three.
Yeah, and this is his first taste of NBA range, right? So
first taste of NBA range against, like we said, point guards that 70% of who he played against, they won't even find a roster spot.
Right.
Can you imagine Russell Westbrook coming out the first weekend and saying, "Oh, I get to guard Lonzo Ball"? This little boy that has taken my media away from me. I get to play against him. John Wall, now highly motivated with his $170 million.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Steph Curry, they'll eat him for lunch.
Yeah,
it's gonna. I'm cautiously optimistic because, like you said, his vision and his rebounding for a point guard, they are exceptional.
Right.
And
there's a lot of
I think he's long enough and
on the Lakers right now.
Right.
As a team.
As we move off of Lonzo in just a second, I will say that he has some glimpses of he's gonna be a very good player.
Right,
I'm just
definitely
not fully jumping on that board yet because we have to take Summer League with a grain of salt.
Exemplifies that is his fellow teammate Brandon Ingram. Like he came out and he's younger than some of these guys. I think he's younger than like Josh Jackson. So when they come out this young, you know, it takes this past season, they didn't have the number 1 pick, Ben Simmons. He sat out the entire year, but it was a very weak rookie class. One of the weakest of all time. Like Malcolm Brogdon, although I think Dario Saric should have won it. Malcolm Brogdon won Rookie of the Year. It was a very feeble effort from the rookie class. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. Sometimes you can't really expect these young 19-year-olds, some of them even come in as 18, to come out and actually to take the NBA by storm right away. You got to let them develop a little bit. To your son's point, Marquise Chris and Dragon Bender. I mean, you got to give him some time.
Right, like Marquise Chris, I think exceeded expectations.
Right,
he got second team rookie. But Dragon Bender even nowhere near an all rookie team, but he showed glimpses of what he can do. And to me, as a Suns fan, I was pleasantly surprised with what I got.
The league we're in.
But I totally agree.
I just think the place we're at, and just not even the NBA, but just in general with sports, is if it's been a year, and God forbid it's been 2 years, and you haven't gotten to anywhere close to where you're supposed to be, that bus comes around.
It's almost like a failed experiment. Yeah. It's crazy.
And with the NBA, I mean, I don't think that should be the case because not everybody can be LeBron James and come in at 18, 19 years old and just take the league by storm, Not everyone's like that. Those are special players.
You know what rookie is looking like he's going to be that good? Dennis Smith Jr. Did you see him over in how about that segue, by the way, though?
Yeah, that was
so you threw the alley-oop and I dunked it. So to talk about a rookie that has come in and immediately looked like the real deal is the eighth overall pick. Ninth overall pick. Ninth overall pick by the Dallas Mavericks.
Too. On this podcast, I said that that the Knicks should have taken him.
Yeah, I agreed with you as well.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis Smith Jr.,
that's a whole
NC
nother
State
can of worms, right?
product. Yeah, I mean, we already kind of missed out on that.
Yeah,
boat.
we can't really talk about that.
But
yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr.
Well, he missed that dunk, though.
He almost baptized the guy, though. So I don't mind that he didn't make the dunk because he made about 18 other dunks.
Ones, yeah, I know.
But even, let alone his dunking, we already knew that the dude had a 48-inch vertical. That was already known in the draft combine. But how about his off-the-dribble slashing abilities? Yeah. How about his three-pointing ability? Right around 40% for the summer league.
Okay. Yeah.
In his first action behind that new arc, he was, I think, the realest of all the deals. I think Jason Tatum was up there as well. Josh Jackson for the Suns had a great summer league. Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, they were the big five.
Right.
Markelle Fultz, I think, could have been in that discussion, but he got hurt early.
Yep.
Dennis Smith Jr. was superior by leaps and bounds over those other four guys, without a doubt. He was the most talented and ready for the NBA looking player in the Vegas Summer League, and I don't think that's any debate. I know you didn't see a ton of it.
I didn't see because the one they don't put. Did they put him on a lot?
I mean, to give, like we kind of brought this out to give.
I feel like the Lakers run every time I looked.
To give the NBA credit, they were doing a good enough job with airing as many times as they could.
I saw internet highlights.
But the Mavs had they had a lot of the NBA TV games.
Okay.
So I don't know if down there you have NBA TV or not, but if you have just the basic channels. But yeah, like
a lot of
even so, they would be on at 10:30 on NBA TV. So
and a lot of the takeaway that I got was Dennis Smith and Lonzo,
right.
But then like Brandon Ingram and his one appearance was like sensational.
Yeah, I mean the Lakers were in the media the entire time.
Right. So,
but yeah, it was Dennis Smith just playing outside of his mind. I think
I saw the dunks. Yeah, those were on the social media all over the place.
And I mean, he averaged 8 assists on the summer league as well. So he was dishing, diming, driving, dunking. He was doing it all.
I didn't hear much about the Nets. I mean, I ended up looking up. They were a veteran team coming into this, but didn't really. They got. I think they got maybe the quarters. I don't know.
Did they?
They were okay.
You know who they got beat by, bud?
Did they get beat by the Suns?
They got beat by the Suns.
They?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yep. So. And
you had like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, a third-year player playing.
Right.
Still couldn't. Man.
Did he still not do well?
No, I think they played well, but obviously they couldn't win. I mean, they're supposed to be these veterans coming into this thing.
Yeah, but they're also the Brooklyn Nets. I don't want to get you crying because that's a whole nother. I don't want to get you upset.
Jeremy Lin said we can make the playoffs.
Oh my God, stop.
Jeremy Lin we trust. Let's Sanity 2.0.
Yeah, right.
Why not?
D'Angelo Russell, I think, is going to be a nice little dynamic. But yeah, I mean, Summer League was great. I think the Finals MVP of the Summer League, Kyle Kuzma, was probably the darling story of the Vegas Summer League as we wrap it up because from Utah, man, and the Lakers bumped up into the first round with their third pick in this year's first round to get the guy, and a lot of us were wondering why they made such an aggressive move to do such a thing, but wow. I want to say more, but just my first initial thoughts was Kyle Kuzma's doing this? Like, really? Is this really happening?
I heard some rumblings from him.
He was
in the draft pool.
Oh no, trust me, I wasn't.
I think I had him in my mock draft going in the first round.
I had him. No, right. But did you expect him to be a finals game MVP? No way.
I can't necessarily take credit for that.
Oh, here we go. I bet you. He always had it in him, Mr. Eric defending everybody.
The one concern with him is, he doesn't necessarily box out. But
not even that, dude. The one thing about that a lot of people were saying is that he didn't have the 3-point ability.
Right.
He shot 53% behind the 3-point arc of the NBA in his first debut.
It's impressive.
53%. Meanwhile, How about this stat? It was unbelievable. He made 27 3-pointers in the Vegas Summer League alone.
Let me guess. He didn't have that many in the
His
college.
junior year. So about, what, 25, no, not even more than that, 30 games.
30 games-ish, yeah.
30 games more than what they played in that Vegas Summer League. He had one less three than he did in the Summer League. He had 26 threes.
That's
in his final
insane.
year at Utah.
How many games is that? Like 8 games in the Summer League?
I think 8 tops. I think since they won the finals, I think it is 10 tops.
Maybe 10? Okay.
So 10 tops. And the Utah college team has at least 35 games in a season. Right around 35.
Right.
So
Yep.
about 25 games more, and he shot made one less 3-pointer. That stat literally jumped off the screen for me, and
that's that's
really showed that
it shows that someone's willing to work on their game. You know, that's what.
And with a young team that kind of has adopted the timeline, they're still a big player away, and maybe next year, if LeBron decides to leave, the Lakers do become a very interesting topic, but. To now be able to mold and blend Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma,
Julius Randle's in the best shape of his life, apparently.
The Zubac, big man.
Zubac. Brooke Lopez,
exactly. Like you got a lot of good pieces in LA.
Lopez.
And Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma were definitely the highlights on that Lakers
didn't they get
team.
KCP too? They signed KCP,
right?
So
yeah, they're on the come up, slowly but surely.
We'll see.
But yeah,
I'm not gonna speculate that. You know, I'm not gonna be like LeVar and say they're definitely making the playoffs.
I don't think they do make the playoffs.
Yeah, probably not. It's a very tough conference, right?
Right. To think that they had 28 wins last year, and to assume that you need definitely 52 wins.
Wow. Yeah, no.
No way.
Yeah.
That's almost doubling.
With the Timberwolves now being a team that's supposed to be coming up now.
The Timberwolves didn't even make it. They're basically a lock to make it this year.
New Orleans didn't make it
New
either.
Orleans didn't make it. Like so many.
But
the
Utah
Nuggets
lost
didn't
Hayward,
make it.
so they're still,
So yeah.
Clippers are out, but, well, I don't know.
No, the Clippers aren't out.
But
I think that's a totally...
we got a lot of months to talk about that. And we'll talk about previews a little bit coming up soon because we got the NFL training camp starting in about a week or so.
Right.
And that kind of kicks off a slew of podcasts, whether it's fantasy football rankings.
No, it was good to get back in the booth just to talk about a little bit of the Summer League highlights and just to kind of crush the tip of the iceberg on this Kyrie situation.
Yeah.
To give you guys just our voices again, because I know that you guys have had sleepless nights without the Sittin Sportside podcast. So we are just as hyped to be back on the mic as you guys listen.
Right now, there's so many fan mail. Like, where is the
Sittin
Sportside
literally,
podcast?
it's like I get bombarded with your tweets, guys. Just settle down. I'll get back to you guys soon. No, we do appreciate whenever you guys listen. It's our pleasure to do this. And
like I said, we're definitely going to get on a lot of good podcasts. We got Cody, Mike James, and John Launton, I think, is going to come back. I don't want to tease a guy that doesn't come, but we're going to have him back. There's a lot of baseball to talk about, and there's a lot of football now to talk about, previews of divisions, fantasy football.
Tons of stuff, baby.
And then we love talking about NBA year-round. I mean, they talk about the NFL year-round. No, I talk about NBA year-round. And then, we always have the occasional random one, like Cody and I had that podcast about the NHL expansion draft. I mean, like,
right.
Where else do you get this at 1045theteam.com? Sittin Sportside podcast,
what a plug.
baby.
You just plugged that beautifully, baby. 1045theteam.com, 1045theteam on Twitter as well. Hit us up whenever you need anything. Drew_Logar on Twitter.
Yeah, now I'm at Eric H1045, man.
Right.
Like, if you just say you want to have a podcast on some kind of sports topic, I guarantee you one of us, at this point, we have 5 people working on this podcast now.
We will get the podcast
One of
done.
us will have some kind of thoughts on that sports topic. So if you want to tweet at us, those handles you can back up on the video to get those again.
_Zlogar.
And Eric H1045. There you go. Tweet at us because we'll definitely get right on that podcast. So Drew, once again, great to be back.
Yeah, pleasure to be back with you, buddy.
And I'm looking forward to the next month or so and plus because this is going to be a lot of fun heading into the NFL season, dog days of MLB season, and obviously the off season for NBA has been great. So for Drew Zolgar, I've been Eric Hammond. This has been the Sittin Sportside podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace.